Zeus, king of the gods. Upon the highest peak of Mount Olympus, where eagles soar through clouds heavy with divine thunder, rules Zeus, the sovereign of all gods and mortals. Master of the tempest and keeper of cosmic order, he wields the thunderbolt forged by the Cyclopes, a weapon that splits the heavens and shakes the very foundations of the earth. His domain encompasses the boundless sky, the rolling thunder that announces his presence, and the lightning that illuminates his divine judgment. The mighty eagle, symbol of his supreme authority, carries his commands across the mortal realm, while the sacred oak whispers his prophecies to those who dare to listen. Zeus embodies both the protective father and the stern judge, maintaining the delicate balance between justice and mercy that governs all existence. When the Titans threatened to plunge the world into eternal darkness, Zeus led his divine siblings in a war that raged for 10 years, ultimately casting the ancient powers into the depths of Tartarus. His union with Metis, the goddess of wisdom, granted him the foresight to rule with both strength and intelligence, though his passionate nature often led to epic conflicts with his jealous wife, Hera. As the supreme arbiter of fate and the guardian of hospitality, Zeus established the sacred laws that bound both gods and mortals. His presence in Greek culture was absolute. Every oath sworn, every guest welcomed, every act of justice carried his divine authority. The Greeks understood that beneath the rolling thunder lay not chaos, but the eternal order that holds the universe together. Poseidon, god of the sea. Beneath the wine-dark waters of the Mediterranean, where sunlight fades into mysterious depths, reigns Poseidon, the earth-shaker whose very breath stirs the ocean's rage. Brother to Zeus yet master of his own vast realm, he commands every drop of water that flows upon the earth, from the mightiest tsunami to the gentlest spring that bubbles from mountain stone. His trident, a three-pronged spear of divine bronze, strikes the ocean floor and sends tremors through the earth itself. When his anger rises, the seas boil with supernatural fury, swallowing ships and drowning coastlines in his wrath. Yet when pleased, he grants favorable winds and calm passages to those who honor his sacred power. The horse, that magnificent creature of speed and strength, springs from his divine essence born from sea foam and ocean spray, embodying the untamed power of the waves. Dolphins dance in his wake, carrying messages between his underwater palace and the surface world where mortals pray for his blessing. The tale of his contest with Athena for the patronage of Athens reveals his generous spirit. Where she offered the olive tree, he struck the Acropolis with his trident and brought forth a spring of water. Though the Athenians chose wisdom over the sea's bounty, Poseidon's gift reminded them that without water, no civilization could flourish. Greek sailors knew that their lives depended upon his favor. Before every voyage, they poured wine into the waves and whispered prayers to the god whose domain stretched from the shallows where children played to the deepest trenches where ancient mysteries slumbered in eternal darkness. Hades, god of the underworld. In the shadowed realm beneath the earth, where the river Styx flows with waters darker than midnight, rules Hades, the inexorable lord of the dead. His domain stretches far beyond mere death. He governs the hidden wealth that lies buried in the earth's depths, the precious metals and gems that mortals prize, and the eternal cycle that transforms endings into beginnings. The helm of darkness, forged by the Cyclopes, renders him invisible to both gods and mortals, allowing him to move unseen through the world above. At his side prowls Cerberus, the three-headed hound whose vigilant gaze ensures that no soul escapes his master's realm without permission. The cypress tree, symbol of mourning and remembrance, marks the sacred boundaries between the world of the living and the domain of the dead. His love for Persephone, daughter of Demeter, reveals the depths of his solitary heart. When he carried her to his shadowed palace, the earth above mourned her absence, and winter came to the world for the first time. Yet in the underworld, she became his queen, bringing grace and compassion to the realm of the departed. Unlike the capricious gods of Olympus, Hades embodies absolute justice and unwavering duty. Every soul that enters his domain receives judgment according to their earthly deeds. The virtuous find peace in the Elysian fields, while the wicked face eternal punishment in Tartarus. The Greeks understood that death was not an ending but a transformation, and Hades served as the guardian of that sacred transition. His presence reminded mortals that all earthly treasures eventually return to his keeping, and that the true measure of a life lay not in its length, but in its honor. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war strategy. From the mind of Zeus she sprang, fully grown and armored for battle, her gray eyes gleaming with the light of pure intelligence. Athena, the virgin goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, embodies the perfect union of intellectual brilliance and martial prowess. Unlike the brutal chaos of Ares, her approach to conflict relies on careful planning, tactical genius, and the wisdom to know when words serve better than weapons. The owl, sacred bird of night vision and silent flight, serves as her eternal companion, symbolizing the ability to see truth in darkness and navigate the complexities of both war and peace. Her spear and shield bear the head of Medusa, transforming a weapon of destruction into an instrument of protection. The olive tree, her gift to humanity, represents the peace that follows wise leadership and the prosperity that grows from thoughtful cultivation. Her contest with Poseidon for the patronage of Athens reveals her profound understanding of human needs. While the sea god offered the power of water, Athena provided the olive source of oil for lamps, food for sustenance, and wood for building. The Athenians recognized that wisdom creates lasting prosperity while raw power fades with time. In the Great Siege of Troy, she stood beside the Greeks not as a goddess of bloodlust, but as the divine architect of victory through intelligence. Her guidance of heroes like Odysseus demonstrated that cleverness and strategic thinking could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. The Greeks revered her as the patron of craftsmen, scholars, and all who sought to build rather than destroy. Her presence in their culture represented the highest human aspirations: the pursuit of knowledge, the creation of beauty, and the establishment of just laws that protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Apollo, god of the sun and prophecy. Across the azure sky rides Apollo, the radiant god whose golden chariot brings light to the world and whose divine music sets the cosmos in harmonious motion. Son of Zeus and Leto, he embodies the perfect balance between physical beauty and spiritual enlightenment, his form representing the Greek ideal of noble youth guided by divine wisdom. His silver bow, crafted by the Cyclopes, shoots arrows of both plague and healing, for Apollo commands the power to bring disease or restore health with equal facility. The lyre, his most beloved instrument, produces melodies so pure that wild beasts pause to listen and stones arrange themselves into walls. The laurel wreath, symbol of victory and honor, crowns the heads of those who achieve greatness in arts, athletics, or warfare. At Delphi, where the earth exhales sacred vapors from its depths, Apollo speaks through the oracle, revealing fragments of fate to those brave enough to seek divine guidance. His prophecies, though often cryptic, never lie. They challenge mortals to understand the deeper truths that govern their destinies. The myth of his pursuit of Daphne reveals both his passionate nature and his respect for those who choose a different path. When the nymph transformed into a laurel tree to escape his advances, Apollo declared the laurel sacred, ensuring that her beauty would crown the heads of victors for all time. Greek culture recognized Apollo as the god of rational thought and artistic inspiration. His presence at festivals and competitions elevated human achievement to divine status, while his role as a healing god reminded mortals that true wellness encompassed both body and spirit. In him, the Greeks found the perfect synthesis of intellectual pursuit and creative expression. Artemis, goddess of the hunt and moon. Through the silver-shadowed forests where moonlight dances on ancient trees, moves Artemis, the eternal huntress whose arrows never miss their mark. Twin sister to Apollo, she chose the path of perpetual maidenhood, dedicating her divine essence to the protection of wild creatures and the women who serve her sacred calling. Her bow, fashioned from silver and strung with golden thread, sends arrows that bring swift death to those who threaten the natural order. The deer, graceful and fleet, serves as her sacred companion, while the cypress and amaranth flowers mark the boundaries of her woodland sanctuaries. By the light of the crescent moon, she leads her band of nymphs in the eternal dance of the hunt, pursuing not for sport but for the sacred balance that keeps nature in harmony. The tale of Actaeon reveals her fierce protection of her own purity and that of her followers. When the young hunter accidentally glimpsed her bathing, she transformed him into a stag, ensuring he would understand the terror of being hunted before his own hounds brought him down. Her justice, though harsh, serves the greater good, protecting the sacred from the profane. In childbirth, women called upon Artemis for protection, for though she remained virgin, she understood the sacred mystery of bringing new life into the world. Her association with the moon connected her to the cycles that govern both nature and the feminine experience, making her the guardian of transitions and transformations. Greek mothers taught their daughters to honor Artemis, understanding that her example showed them how to maintain their strength and independence while serving the greater good. Her presence in their culture celebrated the wild spirit that refuses to be tamed and the protective instinct that defends the vulnerable. These, god of war. In the crimson heart of battle, where bronze clashes against bronze and the earth drinks deep of mortal blood, rages Ares, the god whose very presence transforms ordered conflict into chaotic slaughter. Son of Zeus and Hera, he embodies the brutal reality of warfare, not the strategic brilliance of Athena, but the raw, primal fury that seizes warriors when reason abandons them to bloodlust. His spear, forged in the fires of divine wrath, thirsts eternally for combat, while his bronze helmet conceals eyes that burn with the joy of destruction. The vulture, scavenger of battlefields, circles overhead wherever he walks, and the wild boar, symbol of untamed aggression, charges at his command. His war cry can shatter the courage of entire armies or inspire berserkers to feats of impossible savagery. His tempestuous affair with Aphrodite reveals the intoxicating connection between love and war passion that ignites like wildfire and burns without restraint. When Hephaestus trapped the lovers in his golden net, exposing their adultery to the laughter of the gods, Ares showed no shame, for he understood that desire, like warfare, follows no law but its own nature. The Greeks feared rather than loved Ares, recognizing him as a necessary but dangerous force. While they honored the strategic aspects of war through Athena, they acknowledged that sometimes civilization required the savage fury that only Ares could provide. His presence reminded them that beneath the veneer of culture lay the primal instincts that had enabled their ancestors to survive. In their prayers, warriors asked not for Ares' blessing but for his restraint, understanding that while his power could bring victory, it could just as easily consume everything they sought to protect in an inferno of mindless violence. Hermes, messenger of the gods. Swift as thought itself, Hermes moves between the realms of gods and mortals, his winged sandals carrying him across distances that would take others' lifetimes to traverse. The divine messenger whose caduceus opens every door and whose silver tongue can charm the dead to laughter, he serves as the essential link between the ordered world of Olympus and the chaotic realm of human ambition. His winged helmet renders him invisible to mortal eyes when he chooses, while his herald's staff, entwined with two serpents, possesses the power to induce sleep or wakefulness with a single touch. The ram and the tortoise honor him as their patron, the first for its connection to flocks and trade, the second for its role in creating the first lyre, which he fashioned as a gift for his brother Apollo. Born at dawn, by noon he had invented the lyre and by evening had stolen Apollo's sacred cattle, a feat that revealed both his precocious intelligence and his natural affinity for mischief. When confronted by his angry brother, young Hermes charmed his way out of punishment by offering the lyre in exchange for forgiveness, establishing the principle that cleverness and creativity could transform conflict into cooperation. As Psychopomp, guide of souls to the underworld, Hermes serves the sacred function of shepherd to the dead, ensuring that every departed spirit finds its way to Hades' realm. This role reveals his deeper nature. Beneath the trickster's smile lies a profound understanding of life's transitions and the courage to face the unknown. Greek merchants, travelers, and diplomats revered Hermes as their patron, understanding that his gifts of eloquence and quick thinking could open opportunities and resolve conflicts that force alone could never address. His presence in their culture celebrated the power of communication to bridge differences and create prosperity through mutual understanding. Demeter, goddess of agriculture. In the golden fields where wheat waves like a terrestrial ocean and the earth offers her abundance to patient cultivation, reigns Demeter, the great mother whose gifts sustain all mortal life. Her domain encompasses not merely the harvest, but the entire cycle of growth, death, and renewal that governs both the natural world and the human heart. The sheaf of wheat, heavy with grain, serves as her sacred symbol, while the cornucopia overflows with the fruits of her divine generosity. Her torch, carried through the darkest nights, represents the eternal search for truth and the hope that sustains humanity through seasons of sorrow. The poppy, blooming red in the wheat fields, reminds mortals that even in abundance, the shadow of mortality adds poignancy to life's sweetness. The abduction of her beloved daughter Persephone by Hades reveals the depths of a mother's love and the power of grief to transform the natural order. When Demeter learned of her daughter's fate, she withdrew her blessings from the earth, and for the first time, mortals knew the meaning of famine and winter. The barren fields and withered trees reflected her inconsolable sorrow, teaching humanity that the cycles of abundance and scarcity mirror the eternal rhythms of joy and loss. Only when Zeus commanded that Persephone spend part of each year in the underworld and part with her mother did Demeter restore fertility to the earth. This myth established the sacred mysteries of Eleusis, where initiates learned the profound truths about death and renewal that govern all existence. The Greeks understood that without Demeter's blessing, no civilization could survive. Her festivals celebrated not just the harvest, but the fundamental relationship between human culture and the natural world. She taught mortals that prosperity required not just taking from the earth, but giving back, honoring the cycles that sustained all life and treating the land with the reverence due to a divine gift. Queen of the gods. Upon her throne of gold and ivory, crowned with the diadem of divine authority, sits Hera, the majestic queen whose watchful gaze encompasses all the bonds of marriage and family. Wife to Zeus and sister to the most powerful gods, she embodies the sacred institution of matrimony and the protective fury of the wronged wife, her beauty terrible in its perfection and her wrath devastating in its precision. The peacock, with its magnificent tail that displays 100 eyes, serves as her sacred bird, symbolizing her all-seeing vigilance over the faithfulness of husbands and the sanctity of marriage vows. The white cow, gentle yet powerful, represents the nurturing aspect of her nature, while the pomegranate, with its many seeds, symbolizes fertility and the enduring bonds of family. Her relentless pursuit of Zeus's numerous lovers reveals not petty jealousy but the divine rage of a goddess sworn to protect the sacred nature of marriage. When Zeus fathered children with mortal women, Hera's terrible punishments served as warnings to all who would violate the bonds of matrimony. Her transformation of Io into a cow and her persecution of Heracles demonstrated that even the illegitimate children of the king of gods could not escape the consequences of their father's infidelity. Yet Hera's protection extends beyond vengeance to encompass the positive aspects of married life. Women in childbirth called upon her for protection, understanding that she governed not just the marriage ceremony but the entire family structure that emerged from it. Her annual renewal of her virginity in the sacred spring of Kanathos represented the eternal possibility of redemption and fresh beginnings within marriage. Greek women recognized in Hera both the dignity of the faithful wife and the power available to those who stood firm in their principles. Her presence in their culture elevated marriage from a social contract to a sacred bond blessed by divine authority. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. From the foam of the sea she emerged, perfect in form and divine in beauty, bringing to the world a power more transformative than any weapon forged by gods or mortals. Aphrodite, the golden goddess whose very glance can ignite passion or heal the deepest wounds of the heart, governs the mysterious forces that draw souls together and inspire the greatest achievements of art and poetry. The dove, symbol of peace and tender affection, carries her messages across the heavens, while the rose, with its perfect petals and hidden thorns, represents the dual nature of love, its capacity for both ecstasy and suffering. The seashell from which she first emerged connects her to the primal waters of creation, while the swan, graceful and devoted, embodies the beauty that inspires eternal devotion. Her marriage to Hephaestus, the divine craftsman, reveals the complex relationship between beauty and skill, passion and patience. Though her heart yearned for the excitement of Ares, she remained bound to the gentle god whose gifts to humanity proved that true love expresses itself through dedicated service rather than momentary pleasure. The golden apple she offered to Paris, promising him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, set in motion the events that would lead to the Trojan War. This myth demonstrates that beauty and desire, while divine gifts, carry responsibilities that reach far beyond personal satisfaction. Greek poets and artists sought her inspiration, understanding that love provided the driving force behind humanity's greatest creative achievements. Her presence in their culture reminded them that while passion could lead to destruction, it could also elevate the human spirit to heights that touched the divine, transforming ordinary mortals into heroes whose deeds would echo through eternity. Hephaestus, god of fire and blacksmithing. In the heart of volcanic fire, where molten rock flows like divine blood and the earth reveals its creative power, labors Hephaestus, the divine craftsman whose hammer strikes sparks that become stars. Though cast from Olympus by his own mother, ashamed of his physical imperfections, he transformed rejection into mastery, creating works of such beauty and power that even the gods themselves depend upon his skill. His hammer, forged from celestial bronze, shapes not just metal but destiny itself, while his anvil bears the weight of divine ambition given form. The tongs that grip red-hot iron represent his ability to handle the most dangerous forces of creation, and the eternal flame of his forge symbolizes the spark of innovation that drives all human progress. His marriage to Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, reveals the profound truth that true craftsmanship requires both technical skill and aesthetic vision. Though their union seemed unlikely, the humble artificer wed to divine beauty, their relationship produced works that combined perfect form with flawless function, teaching mortals that the greatest achievements emerge from the marriage of opposite strengths. The golden servants he created to assist in his workshop demonstrated his mastery over the boundary between art and life. These automatons, fashioned with such skill that they possessed consciousness, represented the ultimate expression of the craftsman's art, the ability to breathe life into inanimate matter through the perfection of technique and the inspiration of divine creativity. Greek smiths and artisans revered Hephaestus as their patron, understanding that his example showed them how to transform raw materials into objects of beauty and utility. His presence in their culture celebrated the dignity of skilled labor and the power of human creativity to shape the world according to divine inspiration. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We will love to know the country you are watching from in the comments section, and if you have any video ideas that you will love us to work on, don't hesitate to drop it in the comment section. See you soon in our next videos.